Hi guys, Bill and Stace here. Well, we have gone through a lot of batteries over the years, let me tell you. And our needs have changed too.
Yes.
Yeah, way back we used to live in a house where we had a lot of power outages and I used a Cpap at night. So we had gotten a small battery pack for that purpose. And a small business that we run, we needed some portability power and we got another battery pack for that. As we started doing more camping, we got another battery pack as a backup to the other backup. But the problem we were running into was as we started adding to our little list of things we wanted to run, we had a lot of 300 watt and 500 watt batteries with a lower capacity and a lower inverter built in. And what we really wanted to do was add things like, for me, absolutely important, a Keurig coffee maker. Well, that thing runs about 1500 watts. So all those smaller units don't have the inverter size, like a 300 or 500 watt inverter in it. So we couldn't actually run the larger units like that. Same thing with a microwave. This thing pulls about 900 watts. Couldn't run that with a 300 or 500 watt battery pack. And we're going through the battery packs quickly with my Cpap use and our fridge that we've added, little fans, my laptop, the drone, the light. You know, we've got the phones, we've got all kinds of things that we want to power up.
The important things, the HairDryer and the Hot Logic for Mama.
Yeah, definitely. Now we cook a lot in the Hot Logic as we're driving. About a 2-hour drive, we can cook a meal in the Hot Logic. We actually have the larger Hot Logic too, where you can cook 2 meals at once. But in general, what we were looking for, what I was looking for, and I watched a lot of reviews on batteries, and I took a lot of things into consideration, was something with obviously larger battery capacity. The Bluetti AC200P here has a 2000 watt battery in it and a 2000 watt inverter in it. So that'll power things with a surge of like 4800, I believe it is. So like the initial kick on of something can be a lot higher than the 2000 for a few seconds, the kick. So it'll power that Keurig. Every time I run the Keurig, it takes about 3% of the battery. So worth it, let me tell you. Any road trip we're on, anytime we stop, 2-3 hours of driving, stop at a rest stop, I will quickly turn the Keurig on, make a cup of coffee, go to the bathroom. By the time I come back from the bathroom, it's ready and done, and I just keep going on the road. I don't have to pull through drive-thrus and pay money at McDonald's or Tim Hortons for coffee, and I really like the convenience of the Keurig in the car for camping. I mean, I know a lot of people use a stove and they boil the water and they do all these things and fancy French presses. No, I take a pot, I stick it in there, I put my cup under it, push a button, and I'm good. That's what I want.
And I don't get it because I don't drink coffee. However, we wanted to do a real-time review of the Bluetti to show you what we can use. The specs, this is over my head for me, but when he says we can use this, okay, I got you now.
Now she understands. Yeah, a lot of those spec videos I watch and I understand, the wattage, and you can do configurations to determine how long you can get something. Like my Cpap will run at about 40 watts. And that's another thing too, the kilowatt meter. This thing is awesome because you plug it in and anything you're curious about, you plug that into the unit and you can see how many real-time watts it's using. The refrigerator, when it's not in compressor mode, is running about 15 and as high as maybe like 40, depending on what temperature I put it on. When the compressor kicks on, it's running about 40. Now there is one feature of the Bluetti AC200P that you have to know. It's called Eco Mode. It's in the instruction book and it'll explain it. But if the battery is on and it's drawing less than 50 watts, after a couple hours it's going to shut itself off. It's not a problem with the battery. There's no issue there. It's just that you have to be aware if you're running something just like the fridge alone. Now in my case at nighttime when the van is turned off and we're running the fridge, I've also usually got fans going and my Cpap so it stays above 50. However, I turned Eco Mode off because I don't want that to accidentally turn off, because I do need my Cpap and I do need my fridge going and I do want my fans going. I'm definitely a power user for batteries. So yeah, that's one of the reasons. But I would watch all the videos, and it took me a while. There's actually a video that I put out that said, help me decide my battery, because I had 3 or 4 batteries on the table, and I was going over the limitations of all, and all of them work great.
Yeah.
They're 300 and 500 watt batteries. They all serve their purpose. I mean, I can run a Cpap on it for 2 nights straight on the 500 watt. They're great batteries, don't get me wrong. However, I can leave all those in my garage right now, take this with me, and it's 60 pounds, okay? But it's got 2 nice handles. Where we put this in the van is where the 3rd row seat is taken out. We have like a little trunk system back there. When I put this in the van for a trip, it doesn't matter if it's a 3-day trip or a 2-week trip, because I've used it on many trips. It doesn't move, it stays there. If I'm gonna plug it in at a campground or a friend's house, because I visit family and stuff, I'll run an extension cord out to the van, I'll plug it in, it stays right in place. I leave it in the back of the car. I don't take this in and out of the car except for when I'm packing for the trip or when I get home and I'm unpacking for the trip. So to say, well, you know, yeah, it's 60 pounds. However, I don't really move it that much. And
Right.
I don't have a problem. It's got the double handles, which is very convenient too. But when I put this in the car, I don't even use it with solar or anything. I just have a 25-foot extension cord, and whatever campground we're at or whatever family or relative we're visiting during our trips, 2-3 days of driving, get to my friend's house, I'll plug it into his garage to top it back off. And then, or if we go to a campground, I'll plug it in that night and we'll use it overnight. But yeah, this thing has been fantastic. Let me tell you, this has solved all of our battery problems. It actually takes up less space than bringing all the smaller batteries, which were limited by their inverter power as well, only 300 watt or 500 watt.
And no coffee pot.
And no coffee pot, which is, for me, key, very important. Now, microwave, very handy, very nice to have. We use the Hot Logic a lot. And one thing that we considered, and maybe we'll do down the road, because we change every trip we go, things change.
Yeah.
We may add a toaster oven, little small toaster oven instead of a microwave.
Right.
Just depends on what you're making and what kind of food you make and how you want to heat things up or warm things up. Sometimes a microwave isn't the best choice for warming up a piece of pizza, let's say, but a
Right.
toaster oven would be.
Absolutely.
So, you know, a little foil or a little plate or something and stick it in there. But yeah, we're really, really liking the Bluetti, and I will throw some tech specs here on the back end of this video for those that are really curious about that. But I mean, there's probably a dozen videos out there that explain the tech specs. We wanted to show you from the real world aspect of charging my MacBook Pro. It's got a USB-C port in the front. Could charge that thing up a dozen times with no problem, hardly anything off the battery itself. The touch screen on the front of this thing is very intuitive, kind of like an iPhone. It reminds me a little bit, you know, you're turning it on, you're choosing AC or DC power. You know, it's pretty straightforward. There's a little bit of a menu system where you can turn the eco mode on or off.
Right.
I did turn that off for our purposes. On the top of the unit, there are 2 15-watt wireless charging ports. So, well, not really ports, they're just a little laid on top. Now,
My kind does
put
that.
your phone on there, and if you have wireless charging for your phones, set that on there, and it's going to wirelessly charge. That's pretty handy too.
Very.
In our case, we put this in the trunk system, like I said, of the van, and we run a cord here. It's 6 foot with some extra outlets and the USBs on it, and that's right up in front here. And what we do with that is we run it into one of the ports, and we run it up into the front of the van. Now, I tend to not run too many things off of it at one time,
Right.
but I do plug in the coffee maker and the microwave and stuff into that. Then, when I'm going to run them, I don't run them simultaneously, but I'll run the coffee maker, 2 minutes, bam. Or I'll run the microwave for a minute or whatever I need to warm something up with. But it works really well because it gives me the power in the front of the van. The Cpap has long enough cord that I run it directly to the unit, and then I just route it to the side of the bed for us. But yeah, I am really, really, really loving this battery. The wattage for it, the 2,000 watt battery power gets me through a couple of days easy. I can go 3 days of traveling. I can charge this in the car from the DC jack. I can't do it from the AC jack because it pulls about, I think, 400 or 500 watts when it charges. But it charges fast from the wall outlet. So at a friend's or at a campground, I can run an extension cord and use this big old power brick, which is right in front of here. It's got a little fan in it, so it is a little noisy, but it's totally fine. And that thing will charge this thing up in a couple hours and do a great job of it. Now, there's also the ability to add solar. I don't have any solar panels to use with this at this point. I did purchase this battery myself on Amazon. So this review is 100% us, and I paid $1,700 for this thing. I sold guitars, I sold some toys, I saved up some side cash. I even used a little bit of my gas money fund, you know, just things that I had saved up because I really wanted this battery. I might even sell some of the smaller batteries, I don't know. But I'm a hoarder, so I'll probably keep them.
But they're great, you know. The smaller batteries did serve their purpose for
And
us.
they still do.
When I'd go out and do an event in a metro park where there's no power, they worked very well for me.
Yep, you'll take a 500 watt.
Yeah, I used to take a 500 watt
Get you
to
a
run
couple
my
hours.
air compressor. So they've worked very well.
Yeah, they work great for a small camping trip for my Cpap and maybe a fan or two. But when I wanted to add the coffee maker, when I wanted to add a toaster oven or microwave, when I had multiple things running, I have 2 fans that are always running. I've got the fridge that we've added. The Alpicool is awesome. This is the C20. It's very quiet. It's very efficient. It'll even freeze stuff if you want it to.
Yes,
But yeah, we just keep it at about 40. You know, just keep things
Yeah.
nice and cool. But yeah, this battery is doing it all, and it's lasting for days. And in our situation, being in a campground or a friend's house, we're just charging it when we get there with my long extension cord.
Right.
I also, some people say I'm paranoid, I just say prepared, but I also run a big chain through the handles and then into the posts where your stone go seats go. There's these little metal posts, and I run that chain with a big lock on it through the handles and to one of those posts. Now, is it Fort Knox? No. But is it a deterrent?
Yeah.
Am I going to lose my big battery pack in 3 seconds? No, they're going to have to work for it.
No, we do a lot more longer trips where we're in the van,
Yep.
and I like to hike the trails, so we are leaving the van sometimes
we park
just in
the
the
van.
parking lot versus at a campsite, and so that's why we did that, just as, again, as a deterrent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll go into a major city, go check out the city and stuff, and
Yeah.
you know, we tend to, everything's covered up and whatnot anyway, but just having that little extra chain and security on there makes me feel a little bit better, and hey, they're going to have to work for it, they're going to take it. So, you know, that's my take on that. At the end of the video, I will, like I said, put some tech specs for you all who are into the tech specs. You've got 6 outlets on the front, you've got a USB-C, you've got standard USB, you've got the 12 volt, so you can plug things in there at 12 volt. Hot Logics come with either a 110 or a 12 volt. In our case, we have the 110 versions. Stacy can use her HairDryer. She's actually even got this other one that's like a HairDryer curler.
It's the Revlon, yeah, so it's the roller brush that dries in styles.
Yeah, she likes that. So, you know, if we're going to be out for a week and we're going to be visiting family, doing things, and wanting to use all of these things, that's the way we do it. And we do it with this one battery now. I was bringing 3, 4 batteries, and they would take up a lot of space because they're all smaller, but you know, combined versus this one, this takes up a lot less space, gives way more power.
Yeah. And
the biggest thing is that inverter size, because that thing will run anything up to 2,000 watts. And if you aren't sure, use a little kilowatt. You plug it right in, plug the device you're curious in the home outlet if you want. Just see what it runs. It's small. I mean, some of these things there, people are using Instapots and, you know, air fryers and all these crazy things. I was just happy to be able to use a microwave and a coffee maker, possibly a toaster oven, you know.
I think I'd like a toaster oven better.
I think I might like the toaster oven better too. This actually came from my mom. When she passed, she had it on the counter in her kitchen. So there's a little sentimental value to bringing the microwave and using the microwave. However, I am looking at smaller, lighter, like a 2 toaster that would be smaller and lighter. Generally the same power ranges, somewhere around 1,000 to 1,500. But there's really no worries as long as you're under 2,000 with this thing. And you know, it'll take up less space. It'll be something we can use to heat things up. So we're excited about, you know, the future. Every trip that we make, there's an evolution of what we take. Sometimes when we come home and we unpack and we say, gosh, I didn't use this. I didn't use this either.
Right.
So those things come out of the mix. And then there's other things where you say, man, I wish I had this. In my case, I had a butane stove and I had a coffee kettle, a pot for water. And I had these little Folgers instant packets. And I was making coffee that way. And it was a pain in the butt, I'll be honest. It's kind of a hassle. This, 2 minutes. Bam. Pop the pot in. Put your cup under it, push the button, and you're done. I like that. It takes 3%, like I said, but it's so worth it. So I just, there are little things like that that just make me smile. So, and I was hating to have to.
He is happy. I'm happy.
Happy daddy.
Happy daddy.
Yeah. No, I was really getting tired of going through like the McDonald's drive-thrus and waiting and, paying every time you go and do it and stuff. And this is just so much easier for me. So, but hey, I hope that the review here helps you to realize what you can and can't do with something like the AC200P. It's a fantastic battery. We've used it for 3 months now. I'm loving everything about it. You get all kinds of accessories. You're going to get your wall charger, of course, and the cords for that. You're going to get cords that will let you hook up to solar. However, I don't have any solar panels. I was saving up for one, and I kind of just thought to myself, every trip we go on, I just bring that extension cord, and wherever we're at, I plug in, and I top it off.
And it's worked for us so far.
Yeah, so far I haven't even felt like I needed to have the solar panel. I guess if I lived in the van, or if I was going extended beyond like 2-week trip or something where I didn't have access to power, it might be a consideration, but at this point, it's working great for us, and heck, I can go 2-3 days and still have 60% left on this battery, and get to a friend's house or get to a campground where I'm ready for a shower and I'm ready to plug this thing in and let it charge, and everything's great. So I have not run into a situation where I've needed that.
Nope.
Not yet, at least.
Not
but
yet.
some people, everybody who does things differently, boondockers and stuff, or people who are in the van and living in the van, maybe they have a roof rack with solar panels on it and stuff, and you can hook that up and keep this thing charged. For us, not really needed. Don't have a roof rack. Don't have any solar panel yet. So, this is the way we're rolling right now. But hopefully you enjoyed it. And like I said, at the end of the video here, I'll have some more tech specs for those who are into the tech spec stuff. But this was more of a real world use, what we're doing with it. And I couldn't be happier with this battery, let me tell you.
Definitely give it a thumbs up and worth the money. 2-year
warranty on the thing too. And I purchased this through Amazon. And I also bought the Square Trade 4-year extended warranty. So I actually have a little longer warranty on it. Hopefully Square Trade will come through if the thing failed after 2 years, and I'd still have the extension of that Square Trade warranty. But real-time review, real use from us for a couple trips now, a couple months now of ownership. I didn't want to jump on here day one, and nobody sent me a battery for free, so we've paid for this, and we're just wanting to share that with you, our experience, and so far it has been stellar. It's been totally doing everything we needed to and more. I giggled after about a 3-day trip, and I still had 60% left of the battery.
True
when
story.
I drove from Michigan to Wyoming, took 2.5 days of driving, used the coffee pot at every rest stop, probably every 3 hours I was using the coffee pot, using the Cpap every night. The fridge was on full blast.
Fans were on.
Fans were on at night as well. Did not use the microwave on that particular trip.
The Hot Logic.
But I did use the Hot Logic quite often. Actually, I had that plugged into the car because we have one 10 outlet in the car. So as I traveled, and I'm driving anyway, I just plugged the Hot Logic in and I put a little frozen meal in it. And if you haven't seen or used a Hot Logic, oh my gosh, you don't know what you're missing. You just stick a little frozen meal in, like a lean cuisine, or for me, an Atkins meal or something. I stick it in there, I zip it up, I plug it in. 2 hours later, you don't even have to take it out of the box. That's my kind of cooking. And it just cooks it up. And when you get there, you peel the little thing off, and no microwaves. Works wonderfully and tastes good.
Yeah, and you can use it in the office too.
Yep, Stacy takes it to work, puts meatballs or something in it, and everybody smells it and says, "What's that? What's that?" Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, that's our review on the Bluetti AC200P, and I would highly suggest checking them out. And it's worth saving up for. And like I said, I sold a lot of things. I got rid of stuff. I just said, you know, the priorities are I'd like to have these things in the car. I'd like to do these things with it. And, you know, when we lose power, this thing, it's going to save our butt. You could run the fridge off this. You can run the Cpap off this. There are a lot of things you could do with this. And with the little baby batteries that I have everywhere, you know, those little extras, grab one here and there. The kids do a little outside camping at night sometimes, you know, so I'll give them a battery pack so they can play their music, charge their phones and things like that. But, you know, those are great batteries and all of them work wonderfully. And if we're going to do a quick 2-day trip, might just be worth taking a 500 watter and be fine. But for anything beyond that, that's what this thing is doing the job for us, and it's doing a wonderful job, let me tell you. Very,
Thumbs
very
up
happy.
for sure.
So stick around for the tech specs and leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think about the Bluettis. Let us know if you have any questions particular about this particular unit. It came super quick through Amazon. It's very happy. I'll put some links below for some of these things that we use on a regular basis through there. And we'll see y'all soon.
Thanks for watching.